Hi everyone, my name is Zhao, and I am delighted to be here today to talk to you on behalf of my research team, my colleague student Zhao and Lu Chang, and Professor Dr. Diedek Janos, Dr. Borsos Agnes, and Dr. Zoltan Elgibet Serena. We are doctoral students and professors at the University of Pécs in Hungary. We are working together on a research that focuses on walkability improvement. In this presentation, we would like to present how greenery enhancement could contribute to walkability improvement. By using qualitative and quantitative methods, we were able to use the city of Pécs as a case study, which is a cultural and historical city in southern Hungary. Due to our experience as researchers living in the city of Pécs, strolling the street and running errands on a daily basis, walkability through the city was always something debatable. And from our experience as both pedestrians and observers, many questions arise, such as how we can enhance the walkability of existing cities, how efficient is pedestrian pathways, how can we enhance the walkability of pedestrian pathways and sidewalks to promote walkability, and what are the limits of improvement and how we can measure them. It has been proved in the last few months, due to COVID-19 circumstances, that we are now more than ever in great need to walkable cities. Therefore, today we would like to mainly focus on how we can enhance the walkability. Based on the general theory of walkability, a walk has to satisfy four main conditions to be favored. First, a walk needs to be useful and functional. It has to be safe, comfortable, and interesting. Each of these qualities is essential, and none alone is sufficient. In order to explain the research methodology, we would like to give you some background information about our research context and case study. The city of Pécs, once the cultural capital of Europe in 2010, experienced a wide range of improvements, which enhanced the pedestrian experience in harmony with the rich history of Pécs. Kórháztér was part of these enhancements. It included the development of pedestrian sidewalks and pathways, historical vegetation protection, and etc. Kórháztér intersection was chosen as the area of field work for the following reasons. First, it is one of the busiest public transportation junctions in the city, where more than 13 buses lines are interlocking at the bus stop of Kórháztér. Second, Kórháztér is connecting 4th Street, Rákóczi Street, which is a ring road enclosing the historical downtown, Hungaria Street, leading to the West Subcenter, Alkotmani to some faculties and residential zones, and Ferencesek, which is the rich pedestrian, historical, and commercial value. From Kórháztér, it is possible to reach any faculty by bus or retail clusters within the city, and the city center with most restaurants, cafes, and bars. The research studies both the junction and the division of the connected streets to assure that analysis and result can be accurate and carried in a continuous method. Based on the chosen field case study, we developed our research methodology. The research consists of field investigation and improvement study. The field investigation aims to measure the impact of existing greenery on pedestrian walkability. Therefore, we use both qualitative definition and quantitative measures to firstly assess greenery area in accordance with the pedestrian experience in both vertical and horizontal dimensions, The vertical assessment bases on street elevations perceived at the human eye level, and the horizontal assessment basis on floor plan perspective. Subsequently, it aims to assess the sidewalk connectivity as Koorhasteel intersection, taking into account the position and size of greenery. With the result of investigation, improvement study comes along to identify the potential of walkability in terms of greenery enhancement. In order to assess greenery horizontally, the method applied deliberately focuses on spatial impact in relation to human. Existing vegetation was classified according to its visual impact from an eye-level perspective into the following 5 categories according to volume and height, which are trees, bushes, pots, wall cover greenery, and ground cover greenery. While walking through the area and photo documentation, it was found that acer, ash, platanus are the most dominant species found in Koorhasteel. In addition, 2 aged pine trees exist in the middle of a sidewalk as part of heritage protection. After identifying each type of vegetation, the green space coverage is extracted from aerial photographs. We mapped the greenery by plotting their position and type. From the maps, each type of greenery has quantified, and the area was calculated from a floor plan perspective. Trees were located in different locations of the sidewalk, covering an area of more than 1,000 square meters of the sidewalk. Bushes and ground cover greenery on over 400 square meters and mostly located behind stationary waiting zone. While pots and wall cover greenery cover approximately an area of 36 square meters from the top view. After the calculation of horizontal area of local greenery, the proportion of each type is found in relation to the grass area of sidewalk. Ground greenery and bushes have almost the same proportion on ground floor area, and together they occupy 80% of total greenery. Both types are below the eye level. The other assessment was based on the vertical measurement of greenery. The street elevations at human eye level is documented with photographs. To record the right vision of human eye and meantime the elevation view, digital level gauge was applied. The process of leveling is demonstrated in the photo in the middle. We used a Sony RX100 third generation camera to take a series of photos along a path aligned along the building facades. With this method, we define the perception of pedestrian at Koorhasteel in terms of elevation approach. Then we merge the photos in Adobe Photoshop with the help of stack script and tweaking it manually when it's not applicable. Here we can see 2 elevations on Dacoity Street with the section at the widest part. Here you can see a segment of Alkmaar Street elevation, which is to the north of Koorhasteel. We can see that there is a sudden decrease of green coverage compared to the Dacoity Street. From the section, we can also notice that there is no buffer zone between car lanes and pedestrian sidewalk due to the narrow street section compared to Dacoity Street, where it was 44 meters and here it decreased to less than half. And finally, we can see the elevations of Fragmented Street, where the car lane ends and connected with the exclusive pedestrian pathway which directly link from Koorhasteel to city center of Pécs. Also on the right, the Hungarian Street elevations, which leads to the subcenter in the west. After creating the street elevations, each elevation was analyzed separately. All street elevation greenery types are traced in Adobe Photoshop by pen. This includes bushes, pots, and vertical greenery including trees and wallcreepers. And then the area of greenery was calculated with Photoshop Analysis tool in Photoshop units. Here we can see west and east elevations of Rákóczi Street and the east and west elevations of Alkotmani Street. It is quite notable that the greenery proportion was very different in these two street elevations, while on Ferencesek Street and Hungary Street, there was no greenery in these elevations. With the data of each type of greenery and their respective background, it is possible to achieve the proportion of each type of greenery out of the sum greenery and out of the whole vision of eye level. Let's see the charts made from these data. This is more clear here that on Alkotmani Street, the elevation have equal coverage of greenery, which is 2.3%. On the Rákóczi Street, elevation on the west side is 41% covered by vegetation, while on the opposite side a bit less. Also from the chart on the right, we could learn that compared to the side view of bushes and pots, trees are the absolute dominant feature in human perception in all four situations. After the analysis of actual green surfaces, human behavior is another essential feature to take into account when doing the improvement proposal. This part of data collection is based on photo documentation and on-site exploration. In this map, you can find red dots representing moving pedestrian and red dot with a line representing moving bikes. Meantime, yellow ones represent a waiting situation, and finally blue ones represent long-term staying situation. Red lines of walk routes were traced according to the red dots. Enhancement based on these lines may be able to maximize the use efficiency of each sidewalk. And bigger yellow circles tells the awaiting group of people. These data reflect the demand and habit of local pedestrian. Our improving proposal need to follow these habits as much as possible if they don't mean harm to the local environment. Here we sort the phenomenon regarding all types of pedestrian in case of the studied zone. The top view tells about how pedestrians behave in cooperation with sidewalk with adjacent greenery and other pedestrians. And the bottom figures shows how pedestrians cooperating with cyclists in different situations and with awaiting people. We could learn that the position of greenery and whether there is greenery or not matters very much how local pedestrians behave. Based on the trace of pedestrian flow, the path map was produced, taking into account the buildings and trees. Yellow color marks the segment that are without shadow protection from the sun. So here we have a new criteria about where and what type of greenery can be enhanced. In the middle, we take into account the functions on the facades with their entrances, as well as the vehicle junctions and view direction from bus waiting area that should be clear. Here on the right, we made a set of connectivity analysis on depth map X with different radius that shows the social processes within the sidewalk specialized built environment of courthouse. To be clear of the problem existing on aspects to improve, Here we make a summary. Buffer zone between car lanes and pedestrian way is needed in many places. Bushes can be a better solution considering visual safety. Same visual safety is also needed in the zone with existing grids of trees. Vegetation below eye level can cooperate with a few street furniture to enhance the interaction between pedestrian and built environment, and meantime increase the safeness. Systematic sidewalk design guidelines are brought into the enhancement proposal. We took type that work within the sidewalk, more specifically the swale type in natural way. Here we can see the result from the parameters we took into account. As you can recognize, the largest area of enhancement that can be seen from the plan is ground greenery. In other words, a mixture of grass and flowers in cooperation with street furniture proposed. A narrow buffer zone created by bushes are placed to the edges where there's no contradiction with vehicles. Few greenery in pot format is proposed where continuous greenery is not applicable, and a few trees are proposed in the south part to provide shading and more friendly interaction. A bike lane is added to distribute the load of the pedestrian on the east side of Rákóczi Street, and meantime enhance the safety of pedestrian. The vertical point of view, these images and charts summarize the modifications and results on both elevations of Rákóczi Street, where the most complex situation take place. Judging from the charts produced from similar steps when we did the analysis of the existing elevation greenery, the proportion of greenery below eye level increases, and the overall proportion of greenery gets a slight increase from the elevation point of view. Here is a quick recap of the main conclusions. The comparison of two tables expresses that the greenery on human eye level was increased almost 4 times than the existing, in which pots increased by 70% and trees by 12% of existing greenery. Area of greenery on the ground is enhanced to reach the 39% of total sidewalk area, while the existing percentage was 10%. We improved the diversity of greenery, especially on the east elevation of Rákóczi Street, and meantime, it is where the most significant enhancement took place. From this, we can conclude that regarding greenery design, 30% of sidewalk was not in efficient use and could play a great role in enhancing local walkability without affecting the inherent pedestrian behavior. Here is what we can conclude through the study. The applied methodology can be generalized to further studies to assess street greenery of similar kind. Human eye level is one of the keys to produce analysis and result in a more human-philic way. Secondary street of the subject city lack greenery design, while the limited sidewalk space requires more creative solutions. In the series study of walkability, we will continue with other aspects in walkability enhancement. So this is the end of the presentation. Thank you. Thank you for your time.